What's up, everybody? Welcome to the House Call here at House Call Sports. My name is Sammy HT. That is Justin. Welcome back, Julian, to the fray. And we obviously have the infamous Rob. And today we are going to be discussing the Chiefs and the Ravens in their Thursday night matchup. Can the Chiefs three-peat and the extensions that the San Francisco 49ers finally made to their semi-homegrown talent, Trent Williams and Brandon Aiyuk. We hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit that like button. Please subscribe to our channel. And before we get started, a quick word from Vivid Seats. Vivid Seats is the most trustworthy and easy to navigate ticketing website. They have a reliable and rewarding tickets. They have a 100% buyer's guarantee, which means your transaction will be safe and secure. You will get full service customer care and be compensated for any canceled event. And it's got the only ticket rewards program around. And all that means NFL season is finally here. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Get your tickets. I know you got a sports team that you want to represent. Let's go to those games. Hit the link in the description and go sit vividly. Gentlemen, football is back this Thursday. Thank God. It's been a rough summer. It has been hard, but we are finally here. And of course, the NFL, typically what they do is they decide to put Patrick Mahomes on Thursday nights. Granted, they are the reigning and defending back-to-back Super Bowl champs. They go on and they're taking on the team that they beat in the AFC Championship game, the Baltimore Ravens. And now the Ravens come in with some heavy artillery. All-time great running back Derrick Henry is now in the backfield. I believe this is the first time the Ravens had a real premier back in the backfield to pair with Lamar Jackson. Very excited to see that. Justin, I'll go ahead and start with you. Your expectations for this game, this Chiefs-Ravens game. I know it's week one, and it's like, oh, week one, we don't really care. But what are your expectations for this game overall?
Well, it's the expectation for it is it's going to definitely set the stage for how the season is going to go. You have a Ravens team with kind of a new look defense because you lost one of your main middle linebackers to free agency. You have the Kansas City Chiefs, which has a new passing attack because last year we were here talking about the fact that they had no receivers. Now they actually have a receiving core, if you also include Travis Kelce in the tight end spot. And I'm expecting like a heavy offensive shootout in a way. You got the ground attack of the Ravens versus the aerial assault of the Chiefs. And this is, in a way, a good way to start the NFL season. I'm more interested in Friday night because we have the Packers and the Eagles, but that's because I'm an NFC East person. But it's really going to set the stage to see whether or not we are going to potentially see a Kansas City run for a three-peat. I think if they really want to set the stage and say like, hey, we're coming for that historic moment, they have to really put a beating on Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. But I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be a close one.
Yeah, definitely a close game. Look, it's the beginning of the season. People are rusty. Players are rusty. And rust is not, invincible to anybody. Even the all-time great Patrick Mahomes, all the great quarterbacks have a little bit of rust coming into the season. And we see it, and I'm thinking that we're going to see a bit of it this Thursday. Julian, I'll go to you. Your expectations for this Chiefs and Ravens game this Thursday night.
So obviously we got the same matchup in January in which Lamar Jackson completely and their offensive coordinator completely abandoned the run game. We had Gus Edwards come in. Who knows how healthy he was in January? Who knows how healthy any of those players were in January? But, we're coming back in September to the same matchup, and I'm going to see probably the same script from last year from the Chiefs. I think they're going to start out pretty slow. We look to Mahomes in his improvising ability, his scrambling abilities, and that's kind of where we're going at. We're going to see a lot of, play calls from Andy Reid, like screens, but it's going to be interesting to see what the Chiefs team looks like this early with this brutal of a schedule. I mean, looking at it now, they play every day of the week, literally every day of the week this year. So we're going to get right to it and see what this Thursday brings.
Yeah, definitely going to be a very interesting of the Thursday night. I dare, I really do dare, to not run the ball with Derrick Henry. I dare them and see how people react. I really do, because last year it was already inexcusable because of what happened with the way they were running their offense the entire year, all the way up until that AFC Championship game. That was already ridiculous. Then what happens is they go ahead, they double down on their running game. They decide, you know what, screw the wide receivers. We're going to keep the same freaking wide receivers, okay? Hope Zay Flowers develops. We're going to hope Rashad Bateman turns into the receiver that we hoped he would become, right? Tyler Wallace, Nelson Aguilar, God bless their souls, and Mark Andrews. We're going to stick with that wide receiver core. We're going to double the hell down on running back. We're going to go to Derrick Henry, and we're going to rely on this run game. I dare them one single game in this damn season to try to be something they're not, or come playoff time decide to be something they're not. I don't think anybody can handle that anymore. I mean, last year we saw it. The dynasty, the Chiefs dynasty that everybody hates, the Chiefs dynasty that nobody can stand. They decide to completely go away from what was working. What was funny about that game, Rob, and I'll go to you after I say this. What was funny about that game was during the Bills game, the run game was working for the Bills. The only thing the Bills did wrong was they went the same exact formation. The same exact formation would be a run play. That was the only thing the Bills did wrong that game. Okay, amongst other things. Just Stephon Diggs in particular, but I digress. Then the game comes, the AFC Championship game. You're thinking, oh my God, it's a run game, right? No, we're gonna go ahead and pass with Lamar Jackson. Rob, I want you to hear your thoughts on this Ravens and Chiefs game.
So my biggest thing is now that they have a solid rusher that can get 1,000 yards. When you look at last year or just in the year in general, who led the team in rushing? I mean, it's gonna come to no surprise. It's Lamar Jackson, their quarterback. Now they have a running back. Now, I mean, Keaton Mitchell and Gus Edwards combined had 1,206 rushing yards last year. Derrick Henry alone had 1,167. Look, the play action, everything about what they can run it's going to make this offense a lot more diverse. My biggest thing about that Chiefs and Ravens AFC Championship, besides the fact that they just completely I don't know who their offensive coordinator is, but he needs to be arrested. You had every opportunity to win that game. That game, honestly, the biggest thing is this is what the Chiefs are. They're the Patriots right now. And as much as that hurts me, it's the truth. They're not going to beat you. You're going to beat yourself. You're going to make the mistake that causes the Chiefs to capitalize. And they have the championship pedigree to make sure that when you make the mistake, they're not going to, and they're going to capitalize off that. Now, the biggest thing is, they haven't last year, or not last year, and in general, Derrick Henry hasn't had less than 10 touchdowns since his second year in the NFL. They need that. He hasn't had less than 1,000 yards since 2021, where he only played 8 games and he had 937. Look, everything about this screams revenge game, but it's all goes back to what I was just saying. Is it going to be the Ravens making a statement and winning this game outright, or are the Chiefs going to capitalize off the Ravens, their errors and mistakes? Because let's look, what did Zay Flowers do after he caught a 40-yard ball? Taunts over the guy, rolls the ball. Why? Why would you just continuously give opportunities to this Chiefs team when you had the game in hand? So I don't know how this game's going to go. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but I think it's going to be a game where they're going to beat. It's going to be a slugfest. It's going to be Rocky versus freaking Apollo Creed. It's going to be Ivan Drago versus Apollo Creed. Not Apollo Creed. Rocky Balboa.
Apollo Creed died in that movie.
That did not end how we think this is going to end.
Who's going to throw the punch and who's going to deliver that knockout blow? But I don't know,
guys, guys, before we jump off of this matchup is in September. I mean, last year, looking at Derrick Henry, from the first half of the season to the second half of the season, we kind of saw a different Derrick Henry. This is not, a 25, 26-year-old running back. This is an almost 30-year-old running back who is a bell cow running back. I really think just because this matchup is in September and all these pieces are healthy, you were talking about the Patriots and how this is looking like the Patriots are old. This is going to be the Patriots-Chiefs, 2017, opener game. This is Lamar and Henry are about to open this can up, and they are about to run down the Chiefs' throat. I really do believe that.
My biggest thing is just don't be cute. Don't be cute.
Yeah. Don't throw it up to Isaiah Likely in triple coverage. Please don't be cute. I dare Lamar to throw off his back foot in triple coverage again. Please.
That was the funniest throw of the entire game. Let me tell you.
It really was.
That was the funniest throw.
They had so many opportunities to just put the Chiefs away. I'm telling you, it just eerily similar to the Patriots of old.
I gotta say,
all the teams have that.
Yeah, it isn't fun. It isn't fun. It isn't fun when the rabbit has the gun. That's for damn sure. And as a person who's been shot multiple times in my Dolphins career, I know what it's like. Now, luckily for me, this rabbit is not in my division. He is in the AFC West, and I mean, my goodness,
the weakest division in football.
The weakest. Yeah. Again, this is exactly. I kid you not, a picture perfect. Just not exactly.
No,
the
it's
exact
not
same,
because the AFC East had a winning record against other divisions.
Well,
no,
not exactly the exact same scenario per se, but think about it. Quarterback comes in with a head coach that was kind of, can he do it? Can he not do it? Now, Andy Reid has always been a good head coach. He has always been a good head coach.
With no clock management.
He has always been a good head coach, a coach that has been to Super Bowls. Absolutely, we'll give him his credit. He never got past that Super Bowl era. He never got through that Super Bowl race without Patrick Mahomes. And it's the truth. Now, with that being said, the Chiefs have an opportunity to do what no dynasty in the history of football in the history of the NFL has been able to do. And that's three-peat. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a dynasty. It is. Unfortunately for all of us, this is a dynasty. And it sucks to be on this end of the dynasty. Again, it feels like I've been screwed all of my life. And I was hoping, hey, maybe the other dynasty is going to be in the NFC, just so I can have a chance for my team to go to the Super Bowl. But no, had to be in the AFC, had to be that one damn quarterback, that one bad man, Patrick Mahomes, and that devil, Travis Kelce. And we'll get into Travis Kelce in a bit. No, actually.
And Taylor Swift, you forgot that.
And Taylor Swift, yeah, her too. I gotta be honest, guys. A three-peat seems so out of the ordinary, but so did a repeat, right? No one thought. I don't think anybody really realistically came into last season thinking, "Oh, they're gonna repeat," because repeating is very, very hard. And when the Patriots did it, it was historic. When the Chiefs did it, it was still historic. Now the Chiefs have an opportunity to do something that no NFL team has done. So, Rob, I'm going to go to you. As the master of dynasties, I'm not going to assume your age, but I will assume that you've lived through most of these rings. What exactly do you think it will take for the Chiefs to go ahead and three-peat for the first time in NFL history? I saw it. Don't worry.
I promise you I wasn't frozen. I was just like fucking resting bitch face.
I kept it up there.
The biggest thing is just not getting too ahead of yourself with your ego. Like, and I hate to say this, I know it was preseason, but Mahomes has an ego. Why are you doing behind the back passes in preseason? I get it. It's 100%. Cool. It's cheeky. It's amazing. Really make everything about yourself, as you always do, or you seem to do. My biggest thing is just they're gonna need. I think it would be best for them if they lose against the Ravens. And the reason why I say that is because Sometimes you need to get punched in the mouth to figure out what you are. Now,
that's what happened last year. Yep.
Like the reason why I say this is let's go back to, was it 2014 with the Patriots, and I'm only saying this because I'm just speaking from memory. That year, the Trent Dilfer, oh, the Patriots are done anymore. They're not a dynasty. Blah 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 blah. We know, everybody knows it, and they lost 42-14 against the Kansas City Chiefs. They need that. They need like an ass whooping, and it'll wake them up. Because at the end of the day, complacency is the biggest killer of whatever you're trying to attain. Because we got Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, and then you got Rasheed Rice and getting whatever speeding things. You got defensive linemen getting arrested. And that can be, no matter what level it is, it can be a distraction. It's in some capacity. That's going to be their biggest thing, is just staying home to what they want to do and what they're trying to achieve. And like I said, I think the biggest thing that could help them come Thursday is if they get their ass kicked.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to put it like that, I saw last year when the Chiefs were kind of in a spotty situation, when they would lose, it would kind of seem, hey, it looks like the Chiefs are done. And I think they needed that loss in opening week against the Lions, albeit it was a very, very, very close game and some things had to teeter their way. I think that was a good loss for them because they ended up figuring it out through the losses and through the wins throughout the season. Hey, we just got to make the dance. Just get some home field advantage for one game, and then we'll be okay. Now, the problem really is that their defense, they lost L'Jarius Sneed, and L'Jarius Sneed is a great corner. Let's get that out the way.
Wasn't there a touchdown saving play that L'Jarius Sneed knocked out the ball out of Zay Flowers' hand that went into the end zone? Yeah, so that's huge, not having him. I think that's going to be their kryptonite, not having him there.
McDuffie's still there.
Trent McDuffie, yeah, I was just about to say him. Thank you so much.
I don't care. L'Jarius Sneed is another level. Like literally clutching it.
Definitely.
Clutch.
I don't know.
Hell.
Trent McDuffie, the thing about Trent McDuffie, man, Trent McDuffie was damn good all season long. He ended up becoming a top 10 corner in the league along with L'Jarius Sneed. He was absolutely outstanding last year. And we would like to think that too, but what happened when Stephon Gilmore left J.C. Jackson? And look, when the target's on your back, talking about Bill Belichick here, brother. That is a very, very different.
J.C. Jackson became expendable. They traded him away, and he was nothing. I'm telling you right now, like the target's now on Trent McDuffie's back. It's on his back now.
Absolutely, but at the same time, I mean, Trent McDuffie, I would say the problem would probably be that cornerback room. Trent McDuffie is going to be great. I don't doubt that. It's really the rest of that corner room. I mean, Joshua Williams, Shamari Connor, we've never heard of these guys. So Steve Spags is going to have a lot to really learn from this defense, Julian.
These are homegrown players.
Right.
Joshua Williams and Jamari, they have been in that Spagnuolo system now for a few years. The front seven, don't go, off that back four. That front seven is very dominant. Leo Chenal, you got players
Nick
like
Bolton.
Can't think of it. Yeah, Nick Bolton, Chris Jones, obviously. You got people at their edge that are mid-tier
George
to
Karlaftis is really
higher
good.
level.
Yep.
Yeah, higher level players. George Karlaftis, won a bowl in his first year. I mean, talk about ego. That's a huge thing, Rob. We know winning a bowl in your first year when these players went to the Patriots and they saw that ring in their hand the first year. I mean, that gives you a little bit of an ego boost, doesn't it? So doesn't it kind of scare you though about the Chiefs schedule? I mean, we're talking about, don't even talk about a three-peat near the Raiders fans or their players, because we've already seen the Raiders are taking the Chiefs very seriously this year. according to their Kermit the
like
Frog puppet.
Yeah, I was about to say that. But Steve Spagnuolo, can we like make an honest assessment? He's got to be one of the top 10 best defensive coordinators ever.
Definitely.
I agree.
Ever. Look at what he stopped in his career. Didn't he stop the 18-0 Patriots?
Yep.
But the Giants, I'm sure Justin is very fond of that marriage.
Let's not talk about that stuff.
Fuck you.
2007 and 2011.
Relax, Rob. That was decades ago.
You brought it up, Rob.
That was a decade ago, Robin. You brought it up. Okay, relax.
I didn't even get a chance to bring it up.
Yeah, Justin was sitting in the corner, and you mentioned the Giants. Okay, that was on you. All right. Now, Justin, I actually do want to go to you because as a guy who's very familiar with Steve Spags, right? I'm curious to hear what you think the defense, which was obviously a top defense last year, right? Coming this year, losing guys like L'Jarius Sneed, a very elite corner, and they're going to have a lot of inexperience. Do you think that the Chiefs defense will get back to what they were last year, or at least be enough to get this three-peat?
No. And this is going to be the biggest kryptonite to the Chiefs' attempt at getting a three-peat. And it's the fact that, one, in order for them to actually get back to the place that they were in, they have to pretty much put out the same performance that they did last season, which is very difficult to do. Ask the Philadelphia Eagles what happened when they tried to go back-to-back with the 50 sack seasons. It didn't work out for them. It's very hard to put a repeat performance on a defense when you are one of the top defenses the year before. But not only that, the other kryptonite that they have that I'm seeing now looking at their depth chart is really a lack of depth in certain positions. I'm looking at ESPN's depth chart for the Kansas City Chiefs, and they are a base 4-3 defense, but they only have 4 defensive tackles, which is very, very bad when you are a 4-3 because you have 2 defensive tackles pretty much on the field at one time. You have only one person listed as your weak side linebacker, one person as your strong side linebacker, one person on the depth chart as your free safety, and one person listed as your nickel corner. That means you are a couple of injuries away from pretty much losing it all because they have, according to this depth chart, absolutely no depth behind the starters. The starters, I have no issues with. I think they're still going to be difficult in the run game. I think they're going to be a little bit more susceptible in the pass game than they were last year. But if the injury bug comes for the Kansas City Chiefs, then we may not be talking about a Super Bowl run. We'd be wondering if the injury bug comes, would they even make the playoffs in that scenario?
You know what? You don't want to know something? This actually crossed my mind the other day. Look, that division itself is very weak, granted. However, I will say that John Harbaugh, everywhere he's gone, and Rob mentioned this a couple episodes back, he wins everywhere. He does. He doesn't know how to lose. Even the tough times at Michigan, he found a way to get that program into the top.
He didn't claim one with the 49ers, but he was a couple plays away from doing it with freaking Colin Kaepernick.
And what does he do it with? Bell cow running backs. Hard-hitting running backs.
And with Colin freaking Kaepernick. What are we talking about?
And Colin Kaepernick.
This guy.
Is it John Harbaugh or is it Jim? I can't remember.
No, it's John.
It's John Harbaugh.
Jim's with the Ravens.
Jim's with the Ravens. Yeah, he's Jim. Complete side note. Jim is. They really trust Jim, and thank God for Lamar Jackson.
That's a bad man too.
Yeah, he's a really good head coach, but I gotta say, Lamar Jackson might have saved that man another 10 years as a coach because of what was going on prior to Lamar Jackson. But back to the Chiefs. I do want to mention this about the Chiefs. One thing I will say is that it's very, very difficult to doubt the Chiefs. And a reason for that, and the only reason for that, was because last year, I'm pretty sure we all thought the exact same thing about the wide receiving core, and we didn't really think that highly of the defenses because, quite frankly, the defenses were always mid-tier. Sure, when the playoffs came, absolutely things went super well. Like things went too well, almost. Like you could see like something like something weird happened in the system. Like, what's going on? How did they flip a switch like this, right? The Chiefs have a quarterback that has been battle tested and is a future Hall of Famer, a top 5 QB all time, in my opinion, and to many others. They have a head coach who, at this point, I think you'd be hard pressed to argue is a top 5 head coach of all time, hands down. You have a defensive coordinator who has literally worked wonders against teams that they have no business beating, right? We look back at the Giants. We look back at the years past, the defenses that he's had to work with. There's no way he should be able to work magic with them, but he does. When they need the stops, they get it. So with that, those 3 tandems, you just go ahead and throw in a Hall of Fame tight end, right? Throw in an all-pro defensive tackle, right? Throw in an all-pro corner. Throw in all these little things, right? And unfortunately for the entire league, you have to give them the shot. You have to give them the benefit of the doubt. Now, Justin pointed this out. Injuries happen. Absolutely. And this is a very good point that he made, because if injuries hit this team, it's over. However, injuries can hit any team at any time. Just ask the Dolphins. Just ask the Patriots. Their defense was looking great until Christian Gonzalez decided to get injured.
He still looked great.
Judon still looked great. He looked good. Hey, look, let me finish my point. You see so many teams down the line get injured, and teams have to, guess what? What can teams do? Just lose? They're gonna win. They're gonna find a way. So with Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, it's simple. Just win the games you're supposed to, win your division, and give yourself a shot. And that's really it. This regular season, it's all about getting to the dance. Now, they could struggle this regular season. They could finish with 10 wins for all I care. But the reality is, if you give the Boogeyman a chance, you give Andy Reid a chance, you give all those guys a chance. We saw it last year when they went to Buffalo, when they went to Baltimore, the things that happened when they faced a team that was supposed to be superior to them in the 49ers. We all saw what happened. And with that being said, I can't help but think to myself, I can't count them out. Do I think they're going to do it? No. The percentage of them doing it, though, it has to be above 50% just because of exactly what the pedigree that team has. And quite frankly, we did the same thing last year and it didn't end up well.
Got to worry about the offense a little bit. You know, Travis Kelce's now 35 years old. I mean, this is a route running tight end. You know, that is the good thing. He's not really a blocking tight end, no matter what anybody wants to say. You know, Travis Kelce is 35 years old. You got a pass catcher and Marquise Brown that is maybe 5'10",
and he's hurt.
And he's already hurt. No MVS. You know, we remember, Rob, that championship game. Who caught that pass at the end of the game against the Ravens? MVS. Yes, MVS is definitely an overrated receiver. You know, he isn't the best of receivers. But I definitely think, you know, without Rashee Rice for God only knows how many games, if they're even going to suspend him this season, who knows? Do they have that wide receiver room, and do they have that tight end depth to be able to compete later in the season? Because this is a very, 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 very hard season. You know, they play every day of the week. This is not, you know, Thursday, Monday, Sunday. This is a Saturday game. You got Christmas on Wednesday. You got a Black Friday game. This isn't easy. This is not an easy task.
It's not whatsoever. And Rob, before you get your point out, I do want to reiterate that this wide receiving room, although there were upgrades made, you could make the case that these upgrades were overrated by a lot of people. The Xavier Worthy one in particular, I like Xavier Worthy. I think he's going to be good. What they are touting him as just for his combine is actually kind of nuts. And I think expecting that much from him in his first season is crazy. But even Marquise Brown has been okay in his career. He's definitely underwhelmed compared to what he was drafted as. So if anybody can fix him, yeah, it's probably Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. But even then, I'm pretty sure a lot of people thought that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes could fix Kadarius Toney. And I know Kadarius Toney is a way worse receiver than Hollywood Brown, but who's to say that Hollywood Brown is going to change anything? I don't think he's going to make that much of a difference. But that doesn't change my mind about the Chiefs, Rob.
So my biggest thing is this. Marquise Brown has been injured just about every year. He's 5'9". He's made of literally glass. The guy gets injured every year. Last year, he just highlighted he's 35 years old. This guy's talking about retirement already. He got New Heights podcast with Jason Kelsey. Not a lot of motivation. If you go based off how he is, I don't see a lot of motivation out of him. I don't. I think it's a little bit different. I hate to say it over the Patriots of the past. There's always something that like that team would always find to motivate themselves. What's really motivating this Chiefs team? Like really, seriously, there's nobody's doubting them. There's pretty much our foregone conclusion. Everybody's crowning them at this point. Literally, everybody's crowning them.
I think a lot of teams. I mean, I don't see you and Julian crowning them. That's for sure. I mean, like I'm.
I won't because my biggest thing is I know what he's gone against.
Yeah,
I know if you give him a credible quarterback to go against, and I'm talking about someone that just doesn't shrivel up when the lights are the brightest. Brady had to go against. Listen. Brady had to go against Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, all these real Hall of Fame. No. Has he gone against? Who has he gone against?
Give him Deshaun Watson, the Browns later in the season.
Stop it. He beat Brock Purdy, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl.
Nobody.
Come on, like stop it.
All right.
Stop it.
And
like, he hasn't gone against.
What quarterbacks did Tom Brady beat in He beat who?
Patrick Mahomes, Donovan McNabb.
No, hold on. In the Super Bowl against the Panthers.
Delhomme had a great season.
Go look at the season he had.
Oh, really? Go look at the season he had. I could say the same thing about a Brock Purdy. I could say the same thing about a Jalen Hurts. I could say the same thing about a Lamar Jackson who won MVP. I could say the same thing about Josh Allen. Look, you wanted to bring up QBs. That's completely fine. Those QBs, Ben Roethlisberger, Hall of Fame QBs, absolutely. I will not take anything away from that, okay? I will not take away from Peyton Manning's and all.
So here's my thing.
So
name better quarterbacks than Ben Roethlisberger, Peyton Manning that are right now.
They had to face better defenses. I don't know what to tell you. Ben Roethlisberger and Peyton Manning had to face against a Bill Belichick defense. Bill Belichick is quite literally the greatest defensive mind we have ever seen. This is why I don't like the QB like head-to-head battle, because quite frankly, those QBs are not on the field together. These QBs are facing very different teams. I don't understand this argument.
My biggest thing is this, and I know that we're kind of going on a tangent, kind of going awry from where
I don't know what happened. I don't know when the QB started to play a role in this conversation.
Here's my biggest thing. We need to stop. We need to stop pretending like he had nothing last year. You still have Travis fucking Kelsey. That's it. Brady was throwing to fucking post office work.
We're not talking about Brady.
No, but I get that. But we're acting like this guy's overcome like so much adversity. He took over a team that was 11. No. You did say that like he had basically made anything out of nothing last year. He has Travis fucking Kelsey his whole career. He has Andy Reid. Look, I don't want to make this about Brady, but here's the thing. He has not really had a tough test. He has had every bit. Stop it. He took over a team that was 11-5. 11-5.
What did they do that year?
What doesn't matter.
Why doesn't it matter?
But you know what?
The coach made the Super Bowl. You want to look at what Belichick was before Brady? He was 41-55, 5-11 as with the. Oh my God!
He won a Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl with the Giants.
As a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, but he won a Super Bowl. Guys, to take that away from him?
You both can say that, but at the end of the day, I'm looking right here, guys. I'm looking at teams like Cleveland, Houston, and Pittsburgh with good defenses that are playing him in a row at the end of the year. I am looking at a tough schedule with a defense and a quarterback.
Here's my biggest thing, and I get that the defenses are great. What is the quarterback play at?
CJ Stroud.
Okay, he's his second year. He's okay. What did we see Cam Newton in his second year?
I don't know about Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson's not good. The Buffalo Bills, their whole roster's ravaged. We're relying on a second-year CJ Stroud. Are we really gonna say that? Look, at the end of the day, I think he's gonna be good.
You seemed really high on CJ
I
Stroud
get that.
last week.
Okay, here's the thing, though. It's a lot of just butterflies and rainbows that we think it's just gonna magically. Look, anything can happen. You have tape.
Well, Rob, you're saying then that this is more, ominous than
the quarterback.
That it's going to be.
No, it's almost a foregone. It's almost a foregone conclusion. Who is his competition in the AFC? Please tell me. Other than I think it is just Lamar Jackson.
There are so many.
I see some X factors this year.
There are so many QBs in the AFC that are really, really good. And the funny thing about that is that there are also a lot of teams in the AFC that are very, very good. But what seems like we're not gonna sit here. Last year, the AFC seemed like such a gauntlet to get through, and you're chalking it up as just like
has Patrick Mahomes really played a back four that was really that great? I'm just saying I really don't think he played a back four that was really that great.
Patrick Mahomes put up 17 points in that
Where's
first
Peyton
half?
Manning when you throw that pick?
Are we talking about the Ravens
with
game?
Peyton Manning when you throw that pick?
Like for example, like the Ravens game that you mentioned, and I wasn't going to point this out, but I am now.
No back four.
The Ravens game that you mentioned, he scored in the first half. He was walking down that defense that was an all-time, like I kid you not, one of the best defenses regular season-wise we've ever seen.
Not against the Rams.
They were dog walking. Yeah, that was like the one outlier, right, Julian? That was the one outlier. After that, the defenses, no elite offense was going up against. And finally, when the Ravens figured out the Patrick Mahomes, when they finally figured it out in the second half, it didn't matter because, well, guess what? The Chiefs defense came to play. And Patrick Mahomes can be like, we were just trying to make sure we don't turn the ball over. Yeah, okay. That Chiefs defense ended up playing a pivotal role. So, look, what I'm trying to say is that I don't think the Chiefs are going to repeat. I don't. I just think that if anything, we got to give them a shot because of what has happened 100%. The last 2 years. Like, I'm giving them over a 50% chance. I'm not giving them 60. I'm giving them 50 to 60% chance. That's
ludicrous.
Ludicrous. You have to give it to them.
Like, look at the
not the schedule. Ludicrous.
Look at the quarterback play, man.
Just told me,
I'm sorry.
And the thing is, Rob, here's what's confusing me, Rob, is that you're telling me that last year that he didn't face a quarterback that had ice in his veins or something. Is that?
I think Lamar Jackson. I'll give him Lamar Jackson.
Jackson, but you're saying that I'll give you Tua because Tua, quite literally Tua, just didn't.
I don't know if that's so much his.
We forgetting about Joe Burrow, guys. Are we forgetting
about Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow was the one guy. Joe Burrow was the one guy that I'm saying yes, he can be.
And they'll see him week 2. They'll see him week 2.
That's gonna be.
But here's the thing: Joe Burrow's he's just a ticking time bomb.
Guys, come on! Because
he beat him.
His injuries.
Absolutely.
ACL.
But in 2023, what I'm trying to say, in 2023, they ran it back in the AFC Championship game. They ran it back, and Patrick Mahomes ended up getting the upper hand. Every QB that we have said is super good, that has faced off, if we're really making it QB versus QB, like if you really want to do that, every great QB that has stepped up to Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs has been shot down. And that's it. Like, with the exception of Tom Brady, Tom Brady and Joe Burrow once, that every QB, and that's why Tom Brady is one of the greatest, is the greatest of all time. Like, he is an all-time great. But again, I was not talking about Tom Brady. I was not. I'm saying every QB in this current era right now that
There's no
has
boogeyman. There's no boogeyman right now.
He is the boogeyman. He
Who?
is. Patrick Mahomes is the
No,
boogeyman.
I know he's the boogeyman. I'm talking about like if there what's
No
the
one can
counter?
step up. No one can step up to him.
There is nobody. Look, the Bills just lost half their defense, and not just that they lost. I know there's aging roster, but that's a lot of leadership that just walked out the building. And now we're gonna go off of Joe Burrow, who's just came off a wrist injury, and the guy's.
What about Josh Allen? What's wrong with Josh Allen?
I just said
Why aren't we going off of Kevin Stefanski with a roster that he built up? That
Deshaun Watson hasn't done shit.
You know what? What have you seen from Deshaun Watson? We barely have seen Deshaun Watson.
I
We saw Joe Flacco.
I can't take Deshaun Watson seriously for the simple reason that he had an entire offseason to get right back to what he was supposed to be. And the first how many games did he play before he got hurt? He played like 8 games before he got hurt. And in those 8 games, half of them were really bad, and the other half they were okay. They weren't
playing
terrible.
Injury the whole year.
Yeah, I mean but my problem is that how are we supposed to rely on this guy who took an entire year off? He is the last elite season that he had was 2019
under Bill O'Brien.
Under Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien is the head coach for Boston College now. Like what are like
who just upset? They just upset somebody.
They upset FSU. They did, ironically enough. So
here's Bill O'Brien, guys. Here's how he's been over the years.
Stop it. Well, yeah, hey, I agree. I agree. But why don't we look at what he does as far as offense? I'm sorry. I'm going to go back to that. Okay. I think Deshaun Watson's career owes a lot of respect to Bill O'Brien. Because what Bill O'Brien has done stop it. Go look at the historic Patriots team when he was offensive coordinator.
DeAndre Hopkins for a bag of chips? Okay, I don't know, guys.
I didn't say he was a good GM.
Don't forget the massive contract that Deshaun Watson also got, like that the Browns are taking in, that they're paying him a lot of money to be this elite, not a top 10 quarterback. Let me make this very clear. Not a top 10 quarterback, a top 5 quarterback, and he's not even playing like a top 15. So what we got to understand, Julian, if you believe in Deshaun Watson, all power to you.
I believe in CJ Stroud.
I believe in him too. I just don't think that Deshaun Watson by any means can come back and all of a sudden light up the league like he did before. He can try with Kevin Stefanski. It's possible, and I like Kevin Stefanski. But look, the bottom line is this: there are 3 contenders. There are 2 contenders, certified contenders in the AFC right now that can beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Those contenders are the Houston Texans and the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Cincinnati Bengals is purely because we've seen what Joe Burrow can do with Jamar Chase and when that defense is healthy and when he's healthy. Other than that, I don't trust a single other team. You know what? I'll throw the Ravens in there because the Ravens have 3 teams: the Houston Texans, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Cincinnati Bengals.
I like it.
I'm not giving the Bills a shot. I'm not giving the Dolphins a shot. I'm not giving any other team in the AFC a shot. Not the Jets, not anybody. Yeah. To get a single shot. I just named like 3 AFC teams that everybody thinks is going to be like. It is. Look, there is a very high bar that you got to hit if you want to go at the king that is Patrick Mahomes. And those 3 teams that I just mentioned have the talent. They have the coaching. Well, the Bengals are on the coaching. And they have the quarterback.
Yep.
But do they have the mental fortitude and the gamesmanship throughout the game?
Rob, we're going to have to see.
They will in early and mid-September because you get them both. You get them both week to week. Week 1, week 2, you get them both. And I'm telling you this now. Let's come back at the end of September when Patrick Mahomes and that gang is 0-3 against the first 3 weeks. I'm making that now. Baltimore, Cincinnati, and a revived Atlanta team with a defense that could be top 10 or big. I'm telling you now, it's going to be an 0-3 start from the Kansas City Chiefs, and it'll be an uphill climb from there.
I'm clipping this. If they start 0-3, this motherfucker is a genius. If they start 0-3, they're not making the playoffs. They will not make the. They had a.
They are going to make the playoffs regardless. They have a terrible. Division.
I mean,
they have a terrible division, bro. They have a terrible division.
And then
they have
Cleveland,
the
Houston,
Oakland Raiders,
Pittsburgh,
the Denver Broncos. That is.
I do have a lot of faith in Harbaugh.
And then you got the Chargers, and the Chargers.
But then again, who knows with that roster?
Look,
we don't got the Raiders, that's for sure. No quarterback for the Raiders. According to Rob.
And to be honest, before we end, because we are, I would. Here's my thing, and this is the last thing I'll say about the Chiefs before we go ahead and end this up. The Chiefs have something, Rob, you mentioned it, that no other team has, and it's you make a mistake, we're going to take advantage of that.
Championship pedigree, too.
Championship pedigree. You say, Rob, that, hey, there is no team that has the mental fortitude to beat this Chiefs team. Problem being, I've seen teams beat this Chiefs team. I've seen it, right? Joe Burrow has done it. Tom Brady has done it. And if people have done it, it's possible. That's all I'm saying. And CJ Stroud and that team, they can do it. Joe Burrow, they've done it once. They can do it again. With the Ravens, it is quite simply, will they commit to the game plan or will they not
Run the fucking ball.
Run the ball. With
Run
Lamar
the ball.
and Henry.
Don't throw in triple coverage.
And they still have a great defense. They still have a great defense too.
Have we established who's gonna actually what's gonna happen? Because we haven't said who's gonna go on to. I guess it'd be kind of early.
It would be early. I don't think they're three-peating. I've said it before. I'll say it again.
I
don't think they're three-peating because it's just the odds of that are so low. And as much as I would say, I'm terrified of these guys, I still give them over 50%. I don't think they're three-peating because the reality
over 50% is a scary number.
They lose in the divisional round to the Baltimore Ravens. I'm calling it now. I know I said this thing, but I literally think it's going to be Texas. But it's just it literally is just a hunch. I just feel it, and I just think if the Ravens just stick to their fucking game plan, they'll win the game.
I think that the team that's going to dethrone
it's just the Ravens. It's just the Ravens, man.
I agree. I think the Ravens. It's got to be this year. It really does. And
because who do you stop between Lamar Jackson and if Derrick Henry stays?
You gotta. And what's funny is that like people gotta remember you stack the box against the Ravens team. They do have at least Zay Flowers,
Mark
Andrews, and then any one of those weapons can step up at any given time to step
Isaiah
up.
Likely too.
Exactly.
Just don't throw him in triple coverage, Isaiah Likely. Just don't throw him in triple coverage.
Man, that triple coverage, man.
I'm just telling you now.
We will see what ends up happening. Before we go, though, we do need to discuss the 49ers. And the fact that the 49ers are, well, quite frankly, they went through a pretty interesting offseason, deciding to draft a receiver, essentially calling Brandon Aiyuk's bluff, it not working, and then Aiyuk getting the money he eventually wanted. And they decided to re-sign Trent Williams, which now we have a dilemma because Brock Purdy, George Kittle, and Deebo Samuel are going to be due for a contract very soon. So, Rob, I'll go to you. Last segment before we finish this thing up. What do you think about all the shenanigans that's been going on in San Francisco and their future?
The fact that they let this all go on is, I'm telling you right now, that is going to be the nail in the coffin for this team. They are going to get passed up by the Rams. I'm telling you right now, the Rams are winning this division. And it's because for some reason, McVay grabs a damn receiver in the 6th round every fucking year and you got to compete with that kid that's the rookie, that receiver that they got in the 6th round, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. That defense is revitalized. Man, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a tricky situation. I think that this is going to bleed into the season. I think all these it's going to come to a head because now Aiyuk has a lot of pressure on him because now you're paid like a real, which deservedly so, 1,300 yards. I think he deserved every penny. But this is also setting a precedent that if you bitch and moan a little bit, this team will cave. And it's just going to come to a head when they have to start paying everybody else.
Right. And I think that, I don't necessarily agree with that point. I just think that they realize the talent that is Brandon Aiyuk, that is Trent Williams. And they genuinely just think that they deserve the money. But unfortunately, they have to cater to others as well. You got Brock Purdy. I mentioned this already. Brock Purdy, George Kittle. You got guys like Deebo Samuel who are due for contract. Guys on the defense are going to be due for contract very soon. So I'll go ahead and fit my point in before I go to you, Julian. I think that this was good for San Fran to definitely get out of the water. I definitely wish this thing would have been handled before literally within the week before the season starts. I wish they could have, at the very least, handled this back in maybe early August or even in July so that they could just focus on the season. But instead, you had things like Brandon Aiyuk. With his situation, you had guys like Trent Williams. And the Brandon Aiyuk situation was just god-awful because you had him essentially saying, I want money, but I also want the team. Like, usually you can't really have both. But he was trying to get both, and eventually he just ended up re-signing with the San Francisco 49ers. So it was a very odd offseason for Brandon Aiyuk and the Niners, but I do think that they're going to get back on track. I do think that this team in the NFC, I do think it's weak enough to where, it's going to be a tough division for the Rams. I think the Rams are going to definitely put up a fight. I think Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, if they stay healthy, going to be a lethal duo for Matthew Stafford. I do think the defense, although they did lose Aaron Donald, they still got a young defense. And I do think that they can maybe, I don't know if they'll be top 10. I don't think they'll be top 10, but top 15 definitely seems within the realm, given the fact that they had a tough schedule last year and a tough stretch of offensive teams that they had to face. And it's not like they completely got bent over. So I think that overall, this Rams and Niners little thing that we're about to see, I think it's going to be a very close race. I do think the Niners are going to end up winning the division by a very small margin, but this entire saga seemed very unnecessary. And it's partially on Brandon Aiyuk, partially on the management over in San Francisco. You almost wish that it, especially after a Super Bowl appearance where you just got completely heartbroken, you definitely could have missed me with the sagas. Go ahead, Julian.
You both are being very pessimistic about this one. During Christmas when you leave out cookies for Santa, well, guess what? John Lynch left the cookies out on the table, and Brandon Aiyuk took those cookies and ate them up because it was the same contract they offered him months ago. Now, yes, this was a terrible saga, probably one of the most unprofessional receivers in the league, demanding money. From one going and making videos with Jaden Daniels to, this new age getting on podcast and, basically trashing your own team. I'm looking at it at this. They have all the pieces to compete this year. Did I think the Rams had a chance 2 weeks ago? Yes. Do I think they have a chance now? No. Now, this is why. I saw Jared Verse, a first-round pick, kind of a player that we thought was going to kind of step into the role, if that's even possible, of Aaron Donald, which it isn't. I mean, come on now. Who are we playing ourselves for? He was getting pushed around at practice. Now, that's training camp. It's a whole different story. But I'm not really a big fan of that front seven. I really am. I'm not a fan of them. And I'm not really a fan of that division still. I think Kyler Murray can win the games that he usually wins. And I think the Rams have a ceiling with Sean McVay, unfortunately. I think that's what we've seen the last couple of seasons is going to keep going for the next couple of seasons. He has a ceiling. The great thing is he has that dual tandem at running back. You got Blake Corum and Kyron Williams, wherever the hell they're going to put him. And you got some great weapons. don't screw it up, Sean McVay, because you have a ceiling. You should really break that ceiling with the.
I don't know
that you
if
have.
it's Sean McVay's like make or break with Sean McVay. I think it's just
I feel like
predicated off. No, it's Matt Stafford's health. It's his health because I think Sean McVay is a top 5 head coach.
No, he's great.
I
and now he has
like,
immunity from a Super Bowl win, Rob. So you're absolutely right. He has immunity from a Super Bowl win. So, we got a couple, 3 or 4 years of, mid-level play, the higher level play. If he stays there, he's got immunity. So it'll be interesting to see what the division does. But San Francisco, maybe a lock and key for this year too. I don't blame Julian at all for you for thinking that because San Francisco has had a real chokehold on this division outside of a couple of years, and they have the talent. Let's just call it what it is. They have the talent. I'm saying they're going to win the division. I am a bit pessimistic about how they handled Brandon Aiyuk and Trent Williams because they got handled so late. Like these 2 deals got handled this past week. And I wish they could have. All I'm saying is they should have handled it earlier because now you got to deal with that's one less loose end. You got a couple more that you got to handle. One of them being your franchise quarterback. So George Kittle and Deebo Samuel probably going to be out of there, Rob.
Yeah, Deebo's gone.
Yeah.
I think Deebo's the one that's expendable. We talked about that before the episode.
He isn't the number one.
Because Aiyuk, in my opinion, Aiyuk is a better receiver than Deebo, and he's a better receiver. And I do think that, I don't want to say, because Deebo is valuable, right? He is. But he's not necessarily valuable as a receiver. He's more valuable as a gadget. And those, I'm not saying you can make anybody a gadget, but you can live without him. You could. And Brandon Aiyuk, if Ricky Pearsall, God bless him being shot and stuff, and he's still like going, I hope he makes it back for the season. Rest up, Ricky. I think that if they can get Ricky Pearsall and turn him into something, I know a lot of people thought it was a reach, but hey, if he turns into something, all of a sudden Deebo Samuel becomes very expendable. And then you got guy, I don't know if Jawan Jennings is still on that roster.
He is.
He is. He's a very good. He knows his role, right? Like we've already established this. He knows his role, and he's a receiver that they can rely on as well. So
and I know what I just said might have been like just bold as hell, but it really just same thing I said about the Rams. It's all predicated off health. Christian McCaffrey, I think that team will go wherever he takes them,
and that says a lot about like right. Like think about that. Like Christian McCaffrey, truly one of the greatest running backs in my opinion ever, just because of how he can impact an offense on both the receiving end and both the rushing end. He is that offense. A lot of people like to give credit to Shanahan and Brock Purdy, but truly their best shot at a Super Bowl was this past year. It was. And you can blame it on Jimmy Garoppolo and that 2019 season when Jimmy Garoppolo overthrew. I know a lot of people blame Brock Purdy and Shanahan for that. And for this past year's Super Bowl, straight up, they go where C-Mac goes. And C-Mac had a great Super Bowl, but if he doesn't have an elite, that just goes to show you how you got to beat the Chiefs. You got to have an elite Super Bowl. You got to play perfect on every aspect. Not a single mistake can be made. So, in all honesty, the Niners got to be completely fine. I think they will win this division. They got a lot better teams that they got to deal with in the NFC. I do still think the NFC is a little weak. It's gotten better, but it's a little weak. And we'll see what happens, man. I'm excited to see what the Niners have in store, what the NFL in general has in store for this upcoming NFL season. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode of House Call. Please like, please subscribe, please share it with all your friends. We appreciate the support. Follow us on all social media platforms. We are everywhere, guys. Just go to Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We are everywhere. And with that being said, we hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.